restart.
Come, children, there are stories to tell, lessons to be learned, so listen ye well. Never stray far from a path that's been set. Keep silver in your pocket or your fate will be met. Stay wary of shadows that reach for your feet, for to the fiends you're nothing but... It's better you didn't know. We lower our gaze down from the moon, now to a lone carriage traversing the sighing forest. 7 souls on a journey. 7, because it is a safe number. At the forefront rides an aged knight by the name of Sir Sedgwick, in gallant steel and wolf-and-half cloak to ward off the ever-increasing chill his body seems reluctant to stave off. Next we have the cart driver, but pay him little mind. He is just here to sing songs along a quiet road. In the cart we see the remaining 5. In the role of bounty hunter, the man Tresco, with his bounty gagged and bound on the floorboards. He is not counted amongst the 7, for his soul is stained and damned twice over. Now a passenger, Avon, squire to Sir Sedgwick. Her mount lay dead on the roadside some miles back. A livid bruise can be seen on her cheek. She trains hard to protect, but to protect what? Unknown, even to her. A bump, and the twice-damned soul groans in pain. A pair of pale eyes looks into the trees about the 7 with a touch of fear and loathing. Trist, the academic alchemist, robbed within an inch of his life, something he clings to with a white-knuckled grip. Arlen, the Varigal, messenger for the people, loath to stay in one place for too long. Her eyes dart, searching for danger, but from within or without. Finally, we come to a man unwashed, starved, but ever grinning. Eakin, the self-proclaimed magician, a dazzling smile beneath the grime hints at truth covered in lies, or lies hidden in truth. Now what binds these souls together? Is it fate, chance, or something shining in the shadow?
It is well past midnight as the cart rolls forward. A sense that you are being watched tightens around your throat like a cold noose. Just when that feeling becomes unbearable, the cart pulls into a clearing. The sense of being watched diminishes, but never entirely fades.
"I started to think we weren't going to find this place tonight," says the driver. "Alas, here we are. Better get to setting up camp. We'll leave at first light if we wanted to make back our time. I'll see to the horses."
He pulls some boards up from the cart, beneath which is a rather large space for storage. Inside are a few tarps and some bedrolls.
"Oh, and keep your gazes outside the circle. There's been sightings lately. Wouldn't want any of you to go missing."
Alright, and looking around the clearing, you see that it is a rather large clearing with plenty enough room for all of you. At the center is a fire pit with remnants of fires long past still held within. Around the edge of the clearing are largest stones placed at semi-regular intervals. You can see the path to continue ahead of you to the east and a small trail leading to the north. As each of you steps from the cart, please describe your characters.
Alright. Well, I am playing Arlen, who is a brunette, about medium height. She's in her early 30s, looking late 20s, and she wears very practical clothing, lots of browns, leathers, mixed in with her cloth. She has a short sword on her side, and she also has like a little messenger bag to carry all of her letters and packages that she needs to deliver, and she's constantly looking around, just keeping her eye on everything. As she steps off, takes a look around at the camp, sees the setting, takes note of how far any sort of trees or plant life, or just taking note of the landscape around her.
Yeah, so Ekin jumps down from the back of the cart lightly and with a little more energy than he's shown yet on this trip. Long auburn hair kind of tied back in a tangled mess. Definitely been a while since it saw water. It's it's a bit of a mess, which is kind of the words I would use to describe all of Ekin. He's a messy individual. Hasn't had a lot of opportunity to wash. Green eyes are sharp. He definitely does a quick glance around. Nothing quite so serious as trying to identify potential threats, but gives the whole place a quick once over, maybe looking for the most comfortable spot. And other than that, yeah, his clothes maybe were nice once, but they are like worn to nothing. They're often patched. They're covered in little like patch jobs of various colored fabric that seem from other random garments, and they are all kind of grays and browns from dust and time.
Okay, and Trist?
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna stand up. I'm wearing a kind of long, medium shade colored cloak. It's more on a gray side that ties in the front with just a little gem rock kind of thing. It's not a polished stone, so it's not like worth anything really. It's just symbolic of myself. Medium light brown hair that kind of has flicks of blonde through it. Gray cold eyes and kind of misshapen glasses, like they were kind of formed to fit my face against their will. I'm going to, after seeing Ekin kind of like hop off, I'm going to be like, I'm also really, by the way, I forgot to mention this, my advantage is that I'm handsome and smart, so I'm good looking. But I'm going to be like, he jumped off the back of this car. I'm gonna do that too, but I'm also unlucky, so I'm just gonna fall. On my back, I carry a wooden staff that's ornate with just little engravings that I've done onto it. Yeah, and that's it. I'm just wearing kind of like traveler's kind of clothes, nothing really bulky or heavy, just a few little packages on me just to hold knickknacks and things that I find.
And Tresco?
I stand slowly, definitely kind of a hero pose moment as the breeze catches my trench coat. Square jawed, scraggly black hair, dressed mostly in black, leather armor under my black trench coat, heavily armed with a short sword and definitely a few daggers around my body. But that hero moment when I stand is the last moment because I'm also extremely drunk. I've been getting increasingly drunk throughout the day. So as soon as I stand up, I get a head rush and lean over the side of the cart to puke, but I hold it in, stand back up, pat my chest, and reach down to pick up my guy and drag him to the edge of the cart. As close to the fire as possible to keep him away from the edge of the clearing, which is danger. So there won't be any sneaking away or any of that. Side note, I don't know that I'd have his restraints so tight he's in pain. So I loosen those up a bit for him, as I myself am feeling very loosened up because I'm drunk.
And finally, Avon.
I'm glad that you put me at the end, because Avon would definitely not get out of this cart before everyone else in this cart has gotten out, and I've been able to watch them. Not wanting anyone to be behind me, I watch them very carefully. As Avon steps out, she's got long, messy, kind of sandy blonde hair. She's got it pulled back in a tight ponytail. She's kind of unremarkable in all ways, shapes, and forms. She's very much an everyman. You probably would think that you know her from somewhere, if only because she looks like multiple people. She's got brown eyes, kind of a short, stockier stature. She's holding a round shield, studded shield that's looks far too big for her in actuality, because she's about 5'4", so relatively short and stocky. So as she steps out of the cart, she is going to immediately gravitate to her mentor, Sedgwick. Did he go to the fire, or where did he go?
Yeah, he's over by the fire, kind of kicking the remnants. And how's your face?
Oh, it's pretty swollen. It's starting to go black and blue. It was pretty fresh. I think I've pretty much decided that my horse died in a bandit attack, like bandits in the woods, and I got hit pretty hard. Sedgwick said it was better for us to lose our items. I think we lost some of our possessions.
So what you're saying is Sedgwick decided that it was better to lose some stuff than lose your lives, and so you gave up a lot of possessions.
They had already killed my horse, and Sedgwick probably assumes that they took the horse afterwards to eat it. Yeah.
All right, so you guys have got camp to set up. So what are you guys gonna do?
Arlen's probably starting to look for some firewood that's set up and start gathering that up to get a fire going.
All right, yeah, so go ahead and give me a perception check. Typically, you would initiate a lot of these things, but until all of us get into the flow of how this game works, I'll prompt a few things until you guys get the hang of it. So yeah, perception check, go for it.
All right, and I just add the 2 dots for my perception, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I got a 6.
Okay, a 6. That's not super great, but you do see a few sticks lying around, but what really catches your eye is a symbol on a stone up in the north part of the clearing, next to the small trail leading to the north. What you see is a symbol for a sepulcher.
I'll make a note of that symbol and be like, all right, should probably look into that tomorrow morning.
Alright, well, I will also do a real quick perception check to see if I can find any tinder on possibly because I can probably put together that Arlen is doing that same task, correct?
Yes.
So,
yeah, you see her gathering stuff, and she kind of pauses for like a half second, and maybe looking at a rock or something. You're not really sure what it is, and then she kind of keeps on picking up random branches and stuff.
Correct.
alright, I will look at on the opposite side of the clearing from what she is already gathering on. And I roll a 5 perception.
Okay, you didn't really need to roll for that one. It's kind of weirdly obvious. There is a largish pile of wood kind of hidden outside of the circle in the tree line. Maybe kind of has stuff piled on top of it to kind of keep it hidden and out of direct line of sight.
It's possibly to cover it from any rainfall, keep it dry. Okay. I feel like it's comfortably within sight, so I will go into the brush and gather it.
You do so, and as you do, you kind of see, as you're like bending over to pick up some wood, you kind of see some flitting through the trees, and you look up, and just as you look up, you kind of see like a circle of light that kind of like fades out just as you look up at it.
Could I roll Demorthine Mysteries on that?
Go for it.
It's like being raised by Demorthine. That is a natural 10 plus my 3.
Wow, yeah, actually you kind of seeing just that little bit triggered a kind of chain of memories, piecing together different bits of like tavern tales you've heard, all of which point to this being a wisp or something of that nature that will entice you to follow it into the woods. And you, based on all the tales you've heard, know that if you were to follow this wisp, you'd be hard pressed to ever be seen again. All right, and Ekin, what are you up to?
Ekin simply waits until someone else has a fire going, and whoever gets it first gets my company.
Right, of course. And Trist, what are you up to?
I'm going around and kind of picking at plants and kind of doing an offering to this, like, whatever, like, natural spirits are around.
Ooh, this is a perfect opportunity for can't talk, for a Demorthine Mysteries check. So go ahead and roll it.
That is a 9, and I have nothing written down to add to it, so I assume I add nothing.
Correct. So yeah, 9's still really good. It's not a hard check. Looking around, you actually see these little yellow flowers outside in the kind of like growing around the clearing. They're called Gwilmith. They're a yellow flower, which if you were to like kind of pinch them, would leave like luminescent spots on your fingers. And looking around, you see that each of these stones had at one point kind of maybe a pile of these petals on each, and some of them are in fact missing now. So the sacrifice or the ritual or what have you is currently incomplete.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to walk over and pick up enough missing petals and place them on those altars.
Awesome. Yeah, you actually kind of feel the kind of circle come together.
Would any roll of my travel ability help me know if something is amiss? It's an empathy trait. If I just got a bad feeling about the situation, is that what travel is for, or is it not?
I could definitely see an argument made in that regard. So yeah, go ahead and roll a travel for me.
5.
Yeah, you kind of feel a little paranoid, but you're not sure if it's like the alcohol in speaking or if something is actually afoot.
I try more alcohol.
Alright, so you guys got a fire set up. Trist is taking care of the circle that you guys didn't really know was an issue until he took care of the circle. Now all you got left to do is set up some tents and some sleeping areas. So who's doing what?
I set up some tents.
Yeah, once the fire's going, then I'd probably start setting up sleeping areas. At least for myself.
I do not have such luxuries as a tent, so I'm just gonna pull my coat tighter around my shoulders and lean up against something.
Yeah, there's some rocks around the perimeter of the fire pit that you could easily use to sleep on if that is your desire.
Alright, I would probably, once things settle down and seem set up, lay down on my bedroll, take out my pipe, have a little smoke, and then pass out as best I can.
Avon is actually going to set up a rotating nap schedule with Sedgwick. Because he seems on edge, therefore I am on edge. And we're gonna keep watch, because it's not like I can't sleep in the cart, even though I won't.
Yeah, you bring up the idea of a rotating watch, and Sedgwick agrees, and basically says that he'll take first watch.
Okay.
Something's got me hip acting up. I have a bad feeling about tonight. So, keep wary, girl, and sleep lightly.
Along with my gathering of things, I'm also looking for any kind of coffee plant to make any kind of beverage to keep people awake or get them awake in the morning.
Yeah, you actually find a plant that seems to have been picked, fairly often. There's not a whole lot of leaves left, but you do know that if you were to chew the leaves of this plant, it would have an invigorating effect on whoever was chewing it. So yeah, you find a couple of those.
Cool. I pluck those and kind of wait to see who's going to need them most in the morning. I probably won't sleep because I'll be taking notes on everything and just getting to know my surroundings and seeing anything else I need to do to protect us on the way.
And Tresco, what are you doing?
Honestly.
Okay, well, I guess Eakin, kind of forgot about you. What are you doing over there?
Eakin's pretending to be asleep.
Classic Eakin?
Avon is attempting to sleep and probably does eventually.
Good. So, most of you at least have your eyes shut. Sedgwick is at watch. Avon's fallen asleep. And it feels like just as you'd fallen asleep, Avon, you hear Sedgwick curse into the forest, and you wake up from that. You wake up and you see Sedgwick starting to walk towards the forest. And he's mumbling something about stupid lights in the woods gonna kill him.
I get up to stop him because I don't want him following it.
What, girl? I'm just gonna go deal with this problem. Don't mind me. Go back to sleep.
Aye, but do you know what that is?
Something a sword can kill.
It's not something you can kill with a sword, Sedgwick. Go sleep.
Sedgwick grumbles, walks over towards Tresco. He walks over to Tresco, and he kind of nudges him with his foot until he gets any kind of response out of him.
I grunt.
You got any more of that booze left? I don't think I'm gonna sleep without it tonight.
I roll, and my flask kind of rolls out of my hand. Whether it was intended or not is unknown.
Yeah, so he picks it up, downs whatever's left of it, walks over to the bedroll that Avon had previously been occupying, and promptly starts to snore. But his sword is still at the ready next to the bed, within reach.
Avon sighs heavily.
Okay, Avon, your watch goes on for quite some time before you kind of start to realize that there's some kind of sound like on the air. And before long, it gets louder and louder and louder and closer, and it's coming from the north, and it's the sound of someone screaming raggedly, non-stop, except on occasion in which they take a deep breath and then continue to scream.
Does anyone else wake up from the scream?
I haven't been asleep.
Right, but are you able to pay attention while also writing at the same time, or are you zoned out?
I feel as though I'd be able to pay attention, things like that. I have a pretty high perception, and because I am constantly learning everything around me and writing, so I feel like I've kind of gathered my abilities of being able to at least duo multitask. I just kind of sigh and close like my scroll and stand up.
I confirm with him. So you heard that too, not just me.
Real quick, does Avon recognize me? Like, does she know that we know each other from our town?
She has not put that together yet, no.
Cool. So I just kind of like sigh. Yeah, it's been hard.
Would I roll anything to see if I wake up?
Yeah, you would just do a perception check. It's going to be a little bit more difficult because you're drunk, but yeah.
I rolled a 7, and where do I find my perception again? Oh wow, yeah, we maxed that out, and I rolled a 7, so it's 5 slashes and a dot.
Okay, so that means you have an additional 6 to that, so you just add a 6, and that's still not quite enough based on your drunken state.
It says a +2 REA, if that means anything, and also bonuses. Oh, that's all figured in, I guess.
It's +2 from his reason.
Right, so that does help out a little.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you do indeed wake up from the sound of the scream. What are you doing?
I snarl and check my captive.
He's still bound and tied, and he looks absolutely terrified, like wide-eyed and kind of groaning behind the gag.
I go ahead and sit up and look around for who else is up, because I figure they can tell me what woke me up.
What difficulty setting would it be for me to wake up?
Relatively easy based on the fact that you're not drunk.
Okay. Got a 12.
That'll do.
I would probably almost flinch. Like I would start to almost want to bolt up and then realize, hey, that's possibly a bad idea because I don't know what's going on. So it's just like really awkward, like shoulder upper body twitch and then like drop back down and just stay really still as I listen and take in the surroundings and kind of just grab the dagger a little that I have at my belt.
All right, and Egan, are you still pretending to sleep, or are you pretending to ignore the thing with your eyes shut? What's going on with you?
Yeah, I think even if I drifted in and out a bit, as soon as there was any real motion in the camp, I was awake, still pretending to sleep, but of course a dagger had arranged itself hidden in my sleeve near my hand. I think I slid my dagger up there as soon as there was motion, and I'm waiting to see if people wake me up or what's going on.
Well, first of all, I informed Tresco since he seems confused by what... But, well, now he's hearing the screaming, so...
Yeah, I think I put it all together. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and get up and draw my sword. But would I know, or do I need to roll Demorphine Mysteries to know about the lights? Or is that kind of a common knowledge sort of thing for a traveled fellow?
Yeah, go ahead. I could see an argument made for using travel to kind of figure out or suss out what these things are based on your personal experiences.
Alright, so I rolled a 6. I've got 1 in travel, and then it says plus empathy 4. So do I add 4 plus 1 plus 6.
Yes.
Sweet. So 11.
Okay, yeah, you don't derive a whole lot from your travels, but you have heard, like, the occasional rumor, and the occasional rumor points to these things bad, if follow, might die.
Then yeah, I just tell my dude to stay down, draw my weapon, and kind of circle up with those who are up.
When everyone else in the camp is already awake, I'll give up the act.
Okay, yeah, you all are standing there around the edge of this clearing, and looking out into the forest, you see a bunch of these, like, circle lights kind of floating around, and I need each of you to give me a mental resistance check.
How does one do that?
One does so by rolling a d10 and adding their MR or mental resistance number to that roll.
I rolled a 7 plus 6.
Okay, so 13. And Tresco?
Also a 13.
Arlen?
Arlen got a 12.
And Avon?
Avon got a 16.
And Trist?
I got a 17.
Damn, boy, that's impressive. Okay, Arlen, you feel yourself being drawn towards these lights. You feel like the best place that you can be is wherever those lights are, and so you start to walk towards them.
They're so pretty. Yep.
Yeah, and you find yourself becoming more and more enthralled with them, and you start to hear, like, music in the back of your head, and you know that if you were to get closer to them, that music might, like, become coherent for you.
It's been a while since I've heard music.
How do I go about stopping this?
However you want to do it.
I step forward and a gentle headlock that could be mistaken for a hug.
Okay, you gently headlock her.
I just gotta say, hey, why don't you come on back?
All right, and with that being said, Arlen, go ahead and give me another mental resistance check.
Just picture him headlocking her. Go to sleep.
12 again.
All right, well, this time 12 is enough. You actually kind of snap out of it, and in doing so, all those musical notes become discordant and like start kind of tearing at your head, and it's in your head. Like, you cover your ears, but the noise is still there. And after a little while, it kind of starts to fade, and you're in that feeling of of relief after intense pain. That's what you're feeling right now. And upon closer examination, you kind of feel like you might have just had a seizure.
Oh, wow. Oh, that was rough. Okay, thanks. I think I'm better now. Thanks.
Not the first time I've heard that this week. Tresco's a pig.
I honestly don't know how to take that. Okay, then. And Arlen just steps a little bit away.
I'm gonna walk over to Arlen really quick and hand her one of like the caffeine leaves and just be like, "Here."
Thank you. What do I do with this?
I take mine out and I like put it in my mouth and kind of like chew on it slightly.
Ah, thanks.
Yeah, I'm like, don't swallow. But I say that quietly as to not make like anybody like have like a weird joke thrown in.
Tresco, quick, roll to see if you heard it.
7.
No, you did not hear at all. But what you did hear was that screaming that's been going on this whole time taper off, and like you kind of hear some like rubble or something kind of tossing around as if someone like kind of tripped over something, and then all those lights stop moving, flash out, flash back in, and then dart towards that noise off into the distance of the woods.
Real quick, where's the carriage driver?
You look back where the carriage driver had fallen asleep, and he is gone.
Fuck.
Oh no.
Or wait,
Warning us to be careful is the one that goes missing.
On that note, then, do the screams seem distinctly male or female?
They seemed male.
So, very possibly, carriage driver.
I mean, it very well could be. You're not entirely certain.
I mean, that's where Avon's brain goes, and Avon blindly starts to march towards the path.
All I'm saying is I know how to drive a cart. I call after her half-heartedly.
Sedgwick follows.
It's
I
not
follow
worth it.
Whoa, where are you guys going?
north.
Why? It's still dark out, right?
For the most part, yeah, but there is that, like, pre-dawn light on the horizon.
I mean, there's a reason people stay within, safe havens during night.
There's
When
a
you're
reason
out in the
people
wild.
scream for help too. People who told us to stay within the safe haven, actually.
Yeah, people who are dying or dead because something is attacking them.
Well, we gotta see if we can do something about that. And I keep following Aben.
Sedgwick sighs heavily, but continues down the path.
Arlen also sighs heavily. And then follows. She does grab her sword, though, when this happens.
There's a non-zero length time that he stands there watching them all go, kind of like, are we seriously going out there? All right. And then he follows as well, but making sure he rushes to catch up to one of the bulkier looking fellows.
Okay, yeah, so you rush up and you're, like, so close to Sedgwick that every time his wolf cloak kind of billows out, the hem of it touches you, and he looks over at you and kind of scowls because he can, like, smell your cowardice, and he doesn't quite like that kind of thing.
I flash him my best smile.
He scowls and moves up to speak with Avon, and he says, "You take the front, I'll watch the rear. Keep your eyes peeled, girl, shield up and whatnot."
Good, because that's where I'm at. I'm just walking, taking notes this entire time, kind of not paying attention.
Oh, I guess the party's going this way. Best follow that.
And we march to our death.
Probably.
On the way up, Arlen will kind of glance around, staying with everyone else, like keeping within the group, but she will also start looking for any sort of stone or rock to pick up.
Yeah, there's plenty. They're all over the place.
Excellent.
All right, you guys actually reach the end of this path, and at the end is a smaller, much smaller clearing, at the center of which is a pile of rock.
Getting up to the pile of stones, Arlen first looks around to see if she sees any sort of person or lights or any sort of danger.
It seems clear in all directions.
Okay, in that case, Arlen goes up to the pile of stones, and she will place the stone that she picked up on the way up onto the pile and step back and just in silence stand there for a few moments. And if the group doesn't say anything or keeps passing, she'll just wait until they pass and then follow along behind.
Okay, all of you have entered the clearing now. You enter and you see Arlen standing a few paces away from this pile of rocks, seemingly to be in prayer of some kind. You're not entirely certain. Yeah, so Arlen, you know what it is, and if you want to tell everyone what it is, then that's entirely up to you.
Well, now we're all standing around here. Couldn't we have stood around where there was a fire at least?
Yeah, I look to Avon. I mean, I gotta follow you on this one, so.
Yeah, Avon had her shield up, but seeing some form of contemplation that almost, at least to Avon, appears like almost prayer, and having a lot of respect for that kind of stuff, she puts her shield down, kind of digs it into the ground at her feet, and joins her.
Oh, and Avon steps up beside Arlen. Arlen will very, very quietly say, "This is the grave of a fallen friend. Just need a moment to give respect."
Avon is silent, but there's this kind of nod as, like, I get it, I understand.
And after the moment passes, Arlen will kind of like step back, shake out, and be like, "All right, so are we actually going to continue following screamy sounds? Because obviously they're not here anymore."
When's the last time we heard a screaming sound?
When you were entering this trail, so less than 5 minutes ago. Less than a minute ago, honestly.
Cool, and that was the one that kind of exploded out and sounded like it came from everywhere?
What you heard coming from everywhere was just the echoes of the original scream as it died out. So yeah, sort of.
Well, we tried.
Would it possibly be that the lights went towards the screaming? Avon says out loud.
It definitely seemed that way. Yeah.
Should I roll another Demorthine Mysteries, Micah wonders? Because I realized on my last roll that I didn't add in correctly. That's a 13.
Okay, yeah, so you kind of put together, based on everything going on around you, that these things probably hunt by sound or smell, but it's unlikely that they hunt by sight. And when they do hunt, they always hunt in some kind of pack.
Sedgwick, if there are fiendas out here, is it possible we should maybe avoid them?
Well, the way I see it, they've probably got our scent by now. So if we were to run, which is an option, it's the first option, we run, it's very likely that they'll hunt us down and kill us later. Or we can go towards them now while they're maybe distracted by whatever it is that's out there, and we take them out before they take us out. So that's the way I see it.
If it matters at all, I vote for the first option.
The first option seems more practical, unless you are well versed in fighting these beasts.
Well, I mean, I've encountered a few fiends before. It's just not these particular species, but you know, it's pretty easy. All you got to do is kill them before they maim and slash or eat you first.
And with that, he kind of starts stepping into the woods and out towards the direction these things ran off into.
Damn it, Sedgwick. I was gonna vote with run.
All right, Avon, give me a relations roll. Yeah, I think that's relations. So go ahead and give me a relations roll.
Oh, because of my loyalty? I rolled a 7 total.
Okay, well, two very potent memories kind of come back to you. One of you basically telling Sedgwick that he wasn't much of a knight when he was drunk and kind of just a mess laying in an alleyway. And the other was a memory of while you were asleep of him basically promising to be better and to retake his knightly vows, sort of.
By being an idiot. This is my fault. Yeah.
Do you say this is my fault out loud?
Yes. Avon does say that out loud.
So Tresco jumps in. So we shouldn't do that then?
Or we could set traps for them. Arlen yells towards Sedgwick. Instead of just running in blindly.
Well, now that wouldn't be very knightly, would it?
They're probably already dead. They're not screaming anymore.
And Sedgwick suddenly stops, turns around, and stomps back to the small clearing, and he looks at you.
Gar, what do you know about these things? I might have an idea.
If it's the light, it's the light orbs, right? Or do we assume it's something else? Okay. I know that they trance people, according to folklore or something.
Right, but they went after that sound after something sounded like it was dying, right? So maybe we can lower it to us if we made someone sound like that too. Maybe Pretty Boy here can make himself sound like some kind of wooded animal and get him to come here instead.
I look up and look around because I'm not sure which pretty boy he's referring to.
I have the same moment.
Tristan and Ekin just look at each other.
Just together we go, ah.
Sedgwick stomps over towards Ekin, sword raised, and swings it down at him, but stops.
I scream a little bit, just totally normal, real scream, because I think he's going to attack me for a moment, and then I realize he's probably just trying to get a rise out of me, so I try harder. I'm going to go ahead and try to roll a performance check here, which I am very good at. Okay, so if I'm doing this right, just for rules check, it's whatever I roll plus the dots plus my creativity plus if I have a bonus listed, I get that too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go for that. So I rolled an 8 plus 11, a 19,
Jeez.
to imitate wounded animal.
And you kind of hear like a screech off in the distance, and then nothing for a little while, like it's eerily quiet, and then you start to hear like footsteps kind of crunching through leaves and brush and stuff. And then like the glowy lights kind of reappear in the forest, and they're getting closer.
Told you it was a bad idea.
Seemed to work in my favor. And he like steps over towards the edge and starts banging his sword on his shield to get their attention. He looks back at you guys.
Either join the line or stand behind it.
I definitely stand behind it.
I move up next to him and say, "Didn't doubt you for a second."
Aven mimics him and smashes her butt of her sword against her own shield and says, "If I die, it's your fault."
Yeah, and if I die, it's your fault. There, square.
Merlin has her head in her hands, and she's like, I meant to, like, down in the circle because we still have someone, tied up and helpless. And we probably had more of, like, a chance. Oh, gosh. Okay. All right, this is what I'm working with today, apparently. Okay, whatever. To hell with it. And draws her sword.
Sedgwick sees you step up, gives you like a nod of appreciation, sees the spear on your back, and says,
Give the spear to one of the pretty boys. They can attack from the back.
I look at the two pretty boys. All right, which one of you guys actually knows how to use this?
I just kind of laugh and just have my staff out, and I just kind of wiggle it around.
I've never had to fight. I mostly make friends.
So which one of you would like a stick with a sharp piece of metal at the end?
I just kind of reach out and take it.
All right. Good.
Well, all right. I also kind of let out like a sigh, like, again.
What do you mean again?
I'm very unlucky. Who knows how many times I've just had to do this.
Okay, and just as you guys kind of get formed up, like there's this thrashing kind of comes through the woods and like tears into the ground and like leaps up at the two in the front, bashing their swords against the shields, and they launch themselves into the shields. Everybody roll for initiative. How you do this is you are going to roll a d10 plus your speed, give me that number, and it will determine the order of things that happen here in the battle phase, we'll call it. So go ahead and give me the numbers.
Is speed the number calculated plus the dot, or is it? I'm trying to remember if that one's calculated in.
Yeah, it's calculated.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I roll a 7.
Okay.
If I did this right, I believe I got a 16.
Holy crap, you're fast.
Yeah, I got a 15. I rolled an 8 plus 7.
Huh, okay.
I have no dots in speed.
Seems about right. What'd you roll?
1. This makes sense, all right.
Okay, then turn order is Arlen, Tresco, Bad Guys, Eakin, Aven and Sedgwick, and finally Trist. So right now you guys kind of need to pick your stances. So go ahead and pick those, and then let's roll right in with it, starting with Arlen.
All right. We've just had some of these things smash into shields.
Yarp.
Whew.
These things being the lights, right?
That is correct.
These things are the lights? I didn't actually hear, like, I knew things were coming out, but I didn't actually hear they were the balls of light.
Yeah, now that they're a lot closer, you can actually see what these things look like. They're very reptilian. They're bipedal, with a long tail with like a bone protrusion at the end, and they have like bone protrusions along their spine. But yeah, they are covered in these circles that kind of radiate a luminescent light. But you don't really think that they're eyes. But they are about the size of like a medium-ish dog, so like a German Shepherd type deal. And they are big, slavering, angry, killers, angry, slathering, deadly.
What would be the closest thing to yelling Jesus Christ in this world?
Well, if you follow the one god, it'd be, oh god. If you followed the Dimorphine ways, it'd probably be something along the lines of, oh gods, or spirits, or whatever. And if you're follow Magians, I don't know, like Bartholomew's beard, or something like that? I don't know.
Cool. I don't think I'm actually strongly faithful to any of those, but I think the people around me, most commonly when I was younger, would have been Demorphine. So, yeah, Egan in the background is just, oh gods!
And I need mental resistance checks.
From everyone?
Yes.
16 for Avon.
Same for Arlen.
Egan's got a 10.
15 for me.
And 16.
All right, all of you, but Ekin seem rather unshaken by this thing. But Ekin, you take one trauma point. It's not permanent. It is a temporary one, so you just do a line on that trauma bar.
All right, certainly. That makes a lot of sense. I'm certainly shaking in my boots.
All right, let's combat officially begin. Arlen, it's your move. Go for it.
Gods, these things get uglier every time. And she will go. I'm going to assume she was standing to either the left or right of one of the shield persons. We'll just say Avon. And like kind of reach around and stab with her sword.
Okay, roll your attack.
And I got a 13.
Okay, and what's your weapon's damage?
Short sword is 2 damage.
Okay, Arlen, you slice into this thing. It kind of, you slice like through its back almost, and like some black ichor blood kind of comes out of it, and it smells horrible. And that's your turn. Next up is Tresco. What do you got for me, Tresco?
And I rolled a 9. And then under fighting attitudes, I'll be using the offensive attack. Is that what I'm using?
Yeah, probably. That seems kind of your thing. Okay, and what's the damage of your weapon?
The damage is 3 for a longsword.
Okay, so a total of... Okay, and are you attacking the other one then?
Yeah, I think the one directly in front of me is to the other one.
All right, and you do a total of 3 points of damage to this thing. So yeah, you like stab into maybe like one of the little eyes, and like some of the nasty comes gushing out.
Cool.
Okay, Avon, the one right in front of you attacks with its tail.
All right, I have a defense of 15. Do I have to roll? Or do I just tell you that?
You just tell me that, and I will roll.
Okay.
Okay, so I rolled a total of 15, which means it didn't surpass your defense, so you don't take any damage. It kind of like glances off your shield or your armor or something.
Okay.
And the other one attacks Sedgwick, and like its tail goes right between the shields and gets Sedgwick right in his arm. Okay, Ekin, your go.
Right, I guess these things look like they're attracted to noise.
Seems that way, yeah.
I'm gonna do the only thing I can think of. I'm gonna reach into my my pouch of river stones and heft a big one and toss it at a tree behind them. I'm gonna try to make a big old racket.
All right, and the third one comes out of nowhere and starts like kind of shredding into that tree. That tree is its mortal enemy now.
Oops, I brought another one.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you'd rather it attacks the tree and, you know, not you guys, right?
That is true. I do prefer it attacks the tree.
All right, and that brings us to Avon. You've got one kind of like gnashing and biting and tearing at your shield right in front of you. So what are you doing?
All right. So did I suss out watching other people attack that there's any weak points?
The eyes, maybe, if you want to call them eyes.
Okay. After the splatter from Tresco, because there was like that goo that came out.
Yep, stinky goo.
Willpower check now. Anyway. I'm still in my defensive, so I am going to attempt to... The one that is clawing at my shield that Arlen attacked, I'm going to attempt to push it off and back. So basically just a big oomph. Maybe try to get it on the disadvantage and Is that the only thing I can do, or can I attack? That's what I need to know.
Yeah, you can shove it or attack.
Okay, well, I am only going to shove it away and try to get it on the ground. Since they are bipedal, I would assume that they don't have the best balance. So that is what I am going to do, especially since I'm still in a defensive stance.
Yeah, so just do a roll for close combat.
Okay, thank you. That's a 7. 7 plus 8, 15.
Yeah, so you shove the thing back, it falls on its side. It's kind of flailing about a little bit, but it is effectively prone. So, good job.
That was the goal. Do you control Sedgwick?
Yeah, it's me. I control him.
Okay, just wanted to check.
Yeah, so Sedgwick kind of like shouts at this thing, like an unintelligible battle cry, and like stabs over it, and hits it for 5 points of damage. So, go Sedgwick. The age doesn't matter and all that cool stuff. And Trist, it's your turn.
In this moment, I was like, well, okay. We stabbed them, we poked them, we knocked them down. I'm gonna like kind of reach over and just like stab with the spear. All right, and this will be whatever I roll plus the attack. That is a 9.
Okay, yeah, you hit it. You don't do a lot of damage, but you do a little damage to it.
I'm like, well, tried. Cool.
Okay, beginning of a new round. If you guys want to switch your stances, now would be the time to do so.
I moved to an offensive.
The one that was within my reach has been pushed back, correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to switch to a defensive, because I'm assuming I don't want to run up and hit it. That's not an assumption. That's what I don't want to do. What I am assuming is there is not one within my reach right now.
No, there's none in your reach right now. You'd have to move.
Okay, then yeah, I switch to defensive. Wait for it to come to me.
So you're going to kind of like hold your action until one comes within range of your attack?
Correct.
Cool. Then in that case, it is Tresco's go. Go for it, Tresco.
All right, I am going to go ahead and attack the one in front of me. That is so I rolled a 5, and I'm sorry, just to double check, I'm adding the 10 of my offensive attack to it.
Yes, sir.
So 13. Or 15, excuse me.
Oh, okay. And then what is the damage of your weapon? Again, sorry, I don't remember.
3.
Okay, then that's 10 over the defense, minus 1 for armor.
Okay, I think I did my first hit wrong then. I don't think I added my 10 attack. So I was wondering, I was like, man, I'm hitting this thing. Cool. Lesson learned.
10 attack, what?
Okay, yeah, so you actually managed to, like, lop its tail off as it is lunging forward at Sedgwick.
Cool.
And in doing so, you pretty much halt its attack. So then the second one is going to attack again and thus be moving up into Arlen's attack range. So go ahead and make your attack, Arlen.
Alright, stabby. I rolled a 10, and so that'll be a total of 13.
Okay, and your weapon damage is 2, if I'm not mistaken, so you do a total of 5 points of damage to this Wisp Walker. Okay, it goes ahead and makes its attack against Avon, and it rolls a 1, a critical failure. So its like barbed tail actually gets lodged in between like your metal reinforcements on your shield, so it's like stuck in your shield right now.
It is, yeah, it's studded. That makes sense.
Okay, Avon, it's your go now. Counterattack? Go for it.
Alright, I am going to slicey slice at its tail because it seems to be a balance point. It's a 9 plus my offensive 9, so 18. Damage is plus 3. So, go ahead. 9 plus 9, 18. Plus 3.
Goddamn. Alright, well, you kill it. How do you want to do it? Give it to me. Narratively.
So, he is attached to my shield with his tail. I'm going down with my sword and I'm cleaving it like a butcher cleaves a piece of meat.
Oh, good. That's what we want. We want to cleave our fiend foes like meat. Okay.
Yeah, cleave no man behind.
Get out!
Fine, but I'm taking my new pointy stick with me.
Later we can check out for a few dollars more, starring Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleave.
So yeah, the thing like hits the ground, starts like throwing itself around, letting out this horrible squeal. It sprays blood kind of like all over everybody around it. And you kind of are covered in its nasty smelling blood / ichor. And when it dies, you kind of hear off in the distance like a much angrier, much larger, much heavier roar. This sounds similar to these.
Uh-oh.
Can I quickly just kind of like gather some of the blood in a glass jar?
Yeah, I think it's your turn. So if that's what you want to do, then go for it. Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, you actually get some of it into like a finger-sized vial for transportation. Good job.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, this may have some kind of good property to use in like a healing representation, or it could be poisonous. Who knows?
I mean, I know, but who knows indeed.
Could taste great. What?
I find that hard to believe. But if you want to try it, go for it. Put it in your face. See if I care. I don't care. Just do it or don't, because then I gotta roll some stuff. Anyway, Arlen, it is your go. What do you got to say? What are you gonna do?
Okay, guys, it's probably time to go now. I don't think we can fight that guy. Is there any other small ones still around us that would be within range?
Yeah, the one that was in front of Sedgwick. So if you like form an L around it, you could kind of sort of attack it from the side and the front if that's what you wanted to do.
Okay, I will do such a thing. I will stay in my defensive, but since I'm kind of stepping more around the shield people, I'll go ahead and do two-handed.
Alrighty, go for it.
Which probably doesn't matter because I only got an 8.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just not gonna do it. So sorry. Tresco, it's your turn.
All right, we've got the one left with us, and there was another one nearby attacking a tree.
Correct. Yeah, it's over there mauling the hell out of that tree.
Cool, I'll go ahead and take out the one here with us.
Roll for it, sir.
So I rolled a 7, and then I add. I'm so sorry. I'm just learning this. So I rolled the 7. So that's the roll to hit.
You need to add your attack, whatever that is.
Oh, okay. Then 17.
And then if I remember right, your longsword is 3 damage, so 20. All right. You kill it. How do you kill it, buddy?
Totally dismissively, because I still feel bad that we really haven't done what we came out here to do. So, like, it's not an epic moment. This thing's annoying me, and I just kind of barely even looking at it. I'm looking at the one attacking the tree, and I just kind of offhand just crush this one's head with the flat end of the blade.
Awesome. Yeah, it lets out like a pained, pathetic squeal, and then you kind of hear that roar off in the distance again, but it's getting closer. And from the direction of that roar, you kind of hear like some kind of rustling through the bushes and something like scrabbling through the dirt. It looks like a dirty human crawling on all fours, kind of like barrels kind of between Sedgwick and Avon, between their legs, and like hits the dirt and rolls, and just kind of curls up into a little ball, and there's like this wheezing scream coming from it. It's pathetic and sad and very painful to look at.
I take an attack stance and say everyone might want to get back to the stones.
Yeah, so Cedric, seeing that this is probably the thing making the noise, kind of like grabs it and starts dragging it back towards the camp.
All right, everybody back to camp. Avon, take the back guard.
Oh, I mean, the minute I heard whatever the big sound was, I was gonna say I moved into a movement stance anyway. My fight or flight kicked really hard, and I was ready to go.
Yeah, I think most of you are ready to go the moment that thing started yelling. So, Tresco is staying behind, and everybody's making their way back towards the camp.
I don't like cover in the rear.
What has the third one done at this point?
It has attacked a tree, and that's about it.
I'll attack it.
I'm starting to retreat back to the stones.
So that's 16.
Yeah, that hits, and it does a significant amount of damage. Good job.
And I shout for everyone, y'all go on ahead, I'll clean up here.
Avon is gonna head up the rear of the party as we move back towards the clearing.
Arlen is not slow about this movement either. She's like she passes Cedric and be like, "Good job, see, we got the person. Let's go. Go faster."
Sedgwick kind of like grunts under the effort of carrying this guy, like dragging this guy, and the weight of his own armor and stuff, and you kind of hear him grumbling under his breath. You can't really make out the words, but you're pretty sure they aren't pleasant things. But in a pretty decent amount of time, you make it back into the camp because it's really not that far away, all things considered. So yeah, you get everybody back into the camp. Cedric lays that guy down over near the fire. What do you do?
Arlen's going to kneel next to the driver. Kind of like look him over.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff that applies to it. To a first aid, you can use erudition, natural environment, Magians if you have it, but I don't think you do. So what do you got? What's tickling your fancy?
Natural environment is up my alley.
Okay, then go ahead and give me a natural environment roll.
12.
Okay, yeah. You don't see a whole lot of physical wounds to him. Overall, it just kind of looks like general scratches, tears, a little bit of blood, a lot of mud, like he kind of fell through some like dirt and mud stuff. There's like some trickling of blood from his mouth, which is just wide open, still exhaling that wheezy scream. But it's very quiet because he has severely damaged his vocal cords at this point. But then you can kind of see his hands, which are curled into fists, and you realize that the last digit of all of his fingers is missing. It's a bloody nub, and that there's like bits of bone and flesh in his teeth, as if he has bitten off his own fingers.
Oh, well, could be worse, buddy. Trist? I think that's what I heard them call you. You're probably better at this stuff than I am.
Yeah, this entire time I was like walking up, taking notes of what's wrong with him, and I'm just opening my pack and just like getting things out, just getting ready to help.
In the background, he's like flailing around, going, "Shut him up! Shut him up!"
Avon, I'm glad Trist came in because Avon was literally about to get a rag, stuff it in his mouth, and gag him.
Oh no, that's what's gonna happen. It's just gonna have some medicine to help his throat.
All right, and then we'll cut there and go back to Tresco. So Tresco, this thing turns and attacks you now.
Bring it, you ugly fuck. Are we watching our language?
No.
Fuck.
All right, I think it hits with a 15. What's your defense?
Okay, then 11.
All right, and you take 5 points of damage. That goes into your entire top row, and from here on, any actions you take have a -1 since you're now in your second row of health.
How's it looking?
Pretty messed up.
I'm gonna just stay in attack.
All right, go for it, man. By the way, that rumbling is getting real close.
Sweet! 9. That's a 9 I rolled, plus 10.
Wow. Yeah, don't even worry about it. How do you kill it?
So yeah, when it hits me, I go, fucking ow! And then I kick up. It's got like a goofy little head, right, that just bit me. Or it attacked me with its tail. Cool, so I kick up into its chin, and then as its head kind of bobs back, that's when my sword hits it. So I actually like kick its head into my sword as I'm bringing it down and just slice into it. And I don't even do a cool power pose because I'm just pissed that it hit me. And I start stumbling my way back to camp like, God, mother fucking piece of shit. And I pop my back and just keep moving.
All right, and with the death of that one, you actually hear a very, very close roar, and like the ground is starting to shake with every step this thing takes.
I drunkenly shout at the roar, but I do pick up the pace.
Yeah, so on your way back, you actually kind of like stumble a little bit into Sedgwick, who was on his way back to kind of like cover your retreat. And as you do so, you kind of like glance back behind you and you see this massive shadow kind of moving between the trees, and you see like very large circles and a lot of them kind of like up along the tree line, those like luminescent circles that you saw in the smaller wisp walkers, and it's just massive, and it's kind of moving through the trees on its way kind of like towards the area where you killed all those other little ones. So yeah, you see that as you stumble into the circle. And it like, you can kind of tell when it gets to that area because it stops stomping around. You can hear this like snuffling noise in the air, and then this like crazy loud roar just reverberates throughout the forest. Like the trees are shaking and leaves are dropping down from the trees. It's scary.
Oh shit, guys.
Do you think it's mad?
I hope not with us.
Think we killed its babies.
How is the cart driver doing right now?
He's pretty rough for wear. So what are you doing to help him out?
So right now, mixed up a more liquid kind of herb to go into, like, to rest his vocal cords and actually calm and soothe his throat. As for like mental anguish and screaming, I don't really have anything for that. So I'm just gonna be like kind of soft, coddly, and just being like telling him it's okay and just holding him close.
Cool. I guess go ahead and give me a first aid check, please.
Yeah, mine is, I have a science, but I also have an extra thing for medicine of 6. So do I add both those or just one?
Both?
Oh, good. Oh, we're adding both. You said it. Cool.
I mean, I could be wrong. I just, what does it come out to?
By adding them together, 21?
Whoa, no. That's way too much. Just add whatever one's the highest.
All right, so then 16.
That sounds right.
No, let's do 21. I've healed him and solved his credit card debt.
Okay, you rolled really well. So you put together that maybe a better solution on top of what you're already doing is to also tranquilize him a bit, put him to sleep so he's not hurting himself. And so in doing so, you actually see his body stop shaking, kind of relax a little, and in that moment of relaxation, he opens his eyes and you can see clarity in his eyes for the first time since you started like treating him. And he like gasps this horrible, wheezy, "The walkers are returned." Shadows of Esteren and its logo are trademarks of Agate RPG in the U.S.A. and other countries. All Agate RPG characters and character names and the distinctive likenesses thereof are trademarks of Agate RPG. Content derived from Agate RPG publications is copyright 2012 Agate RPG. Agate RPG is a brand of Agate Editions. Please support the creators of this game. You can do so by going to portal.esteren.org/en, and you can also receive an email when they launch their next pre-order or Kickstarter by following the link below. You can also find a free download of Book 0 Prologue on drivethrurpg.com so you can get started with your friends immediately. And I highly recommend you do so. Prologue is amazing. It has 3 really well-written stories that are great ways to introduce your friends into the Shadows of Esteren universe. Highly recommended. Hey, did you enjoy the music? The game developers made that too. Do you want the music? The developers' Bandcamp has all of their music available for purchase if you're interested. As always, the link is in the description. I should probably also note that the opening song and the closing song were made in-house by Micah Westhoff. So if you wanted those, I'm almost certain we're going to make those available in some way, shape, or form. Support the show by rating us on your preferred podcast source and by following us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, where you can get all the latest Wastebin news as well as a look at the maps and other artsy stuff we use for sessions. All those links are below. And for those of you that want a little more, go and check out our Patreon. That link too is in the description. Thanks everyone, and see you next week.